Hi everyone, and welcome to this new series of videos about the latest development of MyAniMate, that being MyAniMate 3. Here it is. This first video will be focusing on a quick overview of the new experience and workflows that this new version of MyAniMate introduces for the users. I've been developing this toolset for quite a long time before I deemed it ready for release, and it brings a ton of new functionalities. So the very first feature is the unified tools access, which is this. The menu has only one single entry, which is only this, but it could be extended in the future if that would be needed for usability. And that's the only thing that is needed to open the main window. Now, the window is dockable and its operations are categorized under different tabs. So there is a lot of things to cover, and each tab will get likely at least one video, if not more, like the rigging tools will definitely need some more than one. But let's take a look at the main thing. So create character tab is where you want to begin. Okay, so you can either import a file that you would specify here by typing or copy and pasting the path to a file, or you can even browse to a file. You also have a utility to open the folder where a certain file is located. But aside from the traditional import, which is sort of destructive kind of methodology, we also have here the reference file with the reload, and if you don't need it anymore for any reason, remove the reference. What this does basically is to load in an existing file, which will still be separate, it will be referenced, which will allow you to work on the animation side and on the skin weight side in two separate files, but the one that references the rig file with the skin weights will be always the king and reloaded, so all of the changes that you do and the improvement that you will apply to the rig file, the skinning and whatnot, will be reflected automatically or anyway by reloading if you already have that file open in the animation file. So that makes a way more flexible way to work and to go back and forth during different iterations of your work. Now, this is still fully compatible with MyStar, and so fear not, all of your old workflow is still relevant, is still working. But for those of you who don't really care of having the default avatar and you just need a skeleton to start rigging whatever you're rigging, a human human avatar, or you're making your custom human avatar, a custom animesh, a quadruped, whatever, you can just build a base skeleton from here. So we've got a build female button, a build male that still works on the thing, so it's not duplicating anything, is just applying the preset that makes the male different from the female, which, just out of curiosity, is a set of scales and different translations. Like this joint here has a scale, this joint here has a certain position as a male avatar. If we switch to female, you see it's got a different position and it has no scale. So that's basically the difference between male and female. But who knows what you want to do, and therefore that's the thing. So you have the choice. Now, just in case you want to make use of the extra spine joints, you can unfold them in one click or go back to the folded default thing, or you can even remove altogether. So you have a ton of different options here to start creating the character you want to animate on, starting from a rigging default preset, so to speak. So it's always the centimeter scale avatar that comes from MayaStar, and all of the quirks that there are between Second Life and Maya. But you have the choice, so you can get an FBX or Maya file with a scale, with any kind of avatar, and start creating the animation avatar right away. You can start rigging for something custom, like in this case. You also have a couple of things here, like the editing, mirror editing, super useful, so that you can work on one side only instead of pulling your hair out to have things symmetrical. Just remember to remove it when you're done. And when these operations are done, there will be a message in the screen. Okay, and then the usual create animation avatar from here. Okay, so we have no mesh, but that's fine. All right. Now, the rigging tools tab has few options, which is the usual human IK rig, where you can just characterize for animation transfer. You can directly build the human IK rig. You can even make the elbows and knees inverted. Who knows why, but the options is there, so it works like an inverted knee or an inverted elbow. You can delete the human IK character. Then we have a standard skeleton rig, which is basically a custom traditional kind of rig, which unfortunately with the default Second Life avatar, it doesn't work really well because of how that avatar has been built. So complete straight lines here prevent it from working well. The double bend, so sideways and front to back, are not making it work correctly because of how Maya works. So this is advisable to use just on custom avatar where you have everything fixed. So we will see how that needs to be fixed. We have modular rig setups. We'll see how that works. So that only one certain part of your something, whatever it is, can get a specific setup for a certain type of behavior, like an arm, like a leg, like a spine, like a spline, generic spline, or as a quadruped. We'll have a few examples for that one too. And then a simple FK chain and modular FK chain. So we'll take a look at that as well. Then we have the controller manipulators with a set of pre-built-in shapes that you can use, a preview so you can see what you're doing, and a way to save your own to file and create the shape. Then in the animation tools, under the human IK rig tools, we have a few things that will certainly speed up your workflow. Like you can bake to the skeleton, you can bake to the human IK rig, and go back and forth for modifications and whatnot. If you have a custom avatar, you can also transfer the animation to the standard skeleton rig. Yes, we can do that. We have a few things that we can change in the human IK rig to behave differently. we have a mirror pose, which will work only on the rig skeleton. So on this one, not on the human IK rig. So, sorry, not on the IK controllers. Okay, those will be skipped. And you can mirror the full animation, but this needs you to bake the animation to skeleton and have then the full animation mirrored. And you can even remove the animation entirely if you're not happy with that, and just get rid of everything and restart afresh. Then here we have the standard skeleton rig tools, which have a few animation tools here that are quite useful to match IK and FK. So I've made this also in the hopes that someone would start making custom, well-made default avatars with straight legs, with bent elbows, and all that. So new brands and new well-rigged characters can be actually used instead of this ancient slop that we have here. Anyway, we can mirror the full pose of the character controllers. Just the FK, just the IK. That's cool. What is really interesting here is the the data export and the data import, where you can save clips of your animations for you to reuse and, you know, just make a very nice smile, from whatever expression to smile. You like it so much, you make sure to save it into a file. So then you can then re-import it to your animation, to another animation, and at some point it will build up a library of, you know, different poses and or transitions that you like and you want to reuse. Here it is. This is the way to save off library of small clips for you to reuse and reassemble later on. And then you can bake the animation from the rig to the skeleton. So this one will be available for you from the rig when you have the rig, the standard skeleton rig actually present there, and it will let you transfer the animation from the controllers to the skeleton. So maybe you can work with human IK for other things, or from the human IK you can retransfer at some point this animation to the standard skeleton rig, and so go back and forth between the two different ways to animate. Animation import tab. So the animation import tab basically does what it says. It imports animation, and it can import two different standards. A BVH animation settings, which imports the animation separately from the animation avatar, and then it's up to you to transfer that animation to the avatar, which we will cover anyway in the future videos, how to do it. And also the anim format. Say that your animations were great, you want to modify them, but I don't know, after 2 years, so you realize that you cleaned up your disk, or you switched to a new computer, and you don't have the access to the original MyAniMation files. Fear not, you can just import the Second Life animation.anim directly on the skeleton, and yeah, just restart from there. Because at that point, with the animation tools, you can transfer that animation to the controllers, to a human IK rig, whatever, and you also have quick access to same tools that we had in the animation tools. So you can characterize this quickly. You can bake to the human IK rig. You can bake from the human IK rig to the skeleton, also from here. Uh, just basically the same things. It's just a convenience secondary placement inside of this tab here. And then finally, animation export. So you can choose where you want to export things, and here you would choose a directory. And then we have the animation clips. You see this frame here is basically a setting for one animation clip. Say that you have a super long sequence of animation, and you realize that you cannot possibly be able to have it in one single file, in one single anim file. Well, this is the feature that you really need. So you can split your animation in as many clips as you want automatically. So by going here and hitting on the plus sign, you will have the ability to define another animation. So say, as an example, you want this to... It's super complex, so 300 frames is whatever, the way you want to go for it, okay? And set is in and out. Everything else is as we already know about them, right? Then the second clip would be from 301 or even from directly 300 to whatever else the frame range would be, 600, for example. When you hit on the export animation, the export will loop through the whole thing, export of the first settings, and then move on to the second settings. So you don't have to manually do that for each single chunk of your super long animation. It needs to be super, super long, but yeah, that's what you get. All right, now the thing is, fine, but what if I start doing something tonight, for example? I'm too tired and I want to keep going tomorrow. I shut down everything, and yeah, I mean, if I go and close it now, but I don't close Maya, whenever I reopen this, we have the same settings, right? If we shut down Maya, these settings are gone. Well, no, because you can save these animation clips configurations to a file, and you can also load the configuration from a file. So everything that you see in these within these frames, from the animation name, priority, start frame, is in out, looped, loop in out, everything that you can see here will be saved as a configuration file. The only thing that doesn't get saved is the joints priority mapper, which is a separate beast, and each single one of these clips have a different priority mapper. We will see how that works, and hopefully in the future I might be able to save those configurations to file as well, but for now it's not saved off, so that's the only thing. But this is a feature that not many have been using. It's there. We will see how that works. So, yeah, another feature, this is the last one before we complete the thing, the global checkbox. So say that, I mean, by default, global is off, but you can set it as on. With global on, it means that whatever transformation you do, rotate and or translate on this main one, this main circle on the floor, is going to be recorded and therefore whatever you see here will be actually exported. If global is off, instead, everything will be relative to this controller. So if you move it around, rotate it, do anything else to this controller, that will be basically neglected, and its transforms like translation and rotation will be subtracted, and so whatever the animation is and that you will be able to see when you're not manipulating this main controller here is basically what is going to be exported. Anything else that comes from this controller here, rotation or translation, will be subtracted. We will see an example, so it will be easier to understand what that actually means. But if you really need to have something to move and slide the character around, we have this other one, and this will be exported. I mean, the result from the manipulation of this one will be exported. Okay, so you don't need this one. This represents basically where your where the capsule of the avatar is actually in world, and then the animation happens relative to that one. That's the same thing. If we activate global, that assumption is not going to be taken into account. Anyway, this is it for the general overview. I hope you enjoyed it, and I hope you're very excited as I am for this new development of MyAniMate and all of the opportunities that it will open up for us. And yeah, until next time, have fun, and I'll see you in the next video. Bye.